Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Well, kind of like a breaking news here, and that is the European Union agreed to start negotiation talks with Ukraine and Moldova. Even though, if you remember, Hungary said that it will veto this kind of negotiation talks. So what's going on? What happened? I will tell you exactly what happened. Viktor Orban walked away. There were some little arguments over there. And another piece of news is that Zelensky was uninvited from attending this summit. So let's start with this first article, where is obviously the most important one. This comes from, you can find it in many locations, the Kiev Independent, December 14th, 2023. Breaking: European Council agrees to open accession talks with Ukraine and Moldova. This, I don't know what this is, says Mr. Michel. So the European Council has agreed to open accession talks with Ukraine and Moldova, European Council President Charles Michel announced on December 14th. The announcement from the two-day summit in Brussels delivered a significant political victory for Ukraine amid worries that Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban would block the start of the negotiations and uncertainty over aid from the US. Well, it seems like Mr. Orban bowed down. How did he do it? Well, he walked out of the room. Let me show you this. Another one. This is from New Voice of Ukraine. European Union approves start of Ukraine accession negotiation. And here, the New Voice of Ukraine. European Union withdraws Zelenskyy invite to summit as Orban threatens objections. So the weasel did not show up, was disinvited, but doesn't really matter. He's got his thing. But it's a long process, we'll find out. Zelensky was initially scheduled to attend the summit to discuss aid to Ukraine and the start of EU accession talks. The leaders of the bloc were ready to invite him, political rights. However, several ambassadors warned that the presence of the Ukrainian president could antagonize Orban and make him even more intransigent. So Zelensky was on the official visit, but he was just kicked out. Doesn't really matter. What happened next matters. Ukrainska Pravda. Orban left the room when we voted. End quote. EU official explains how decision to open accession talks with Ukraine was made. So Viktor Orban went in when the vote was ready. He refused to vote and walked out. And he said, I don't want to participate, or I'm not going to be responsible. I think it's wrong what's going on here, but I will not stand against it, but I do not support it. So just so you know. Well, we can discuss that. Let's go back here. Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban was absent from the room when the European Union leaders voted to open accession negotiations with Ukraine and Moldova, which meant his veto on the decision was not in effect. The main thing is that no one opposed this decision. Thus, the European Union agreed on the decision to open negotiations with Ukraine and Moldova and to grant Georgia candidate status. Legally, this is absolutely in line with the rules. Absolutely. Yes, we have made a decision in Orban's absence, but not behind his back. He knew that this decision would be voted on and left the room. Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban himself confirmed that he abstained from voting for the start of negotiations on Ukraine's accession to the European Union and did not change his attitude to this. He posted a video on Facebook in which he reiterated Budapest's position that, and I'm quoting, Ukraine is not ready for us to start negotiations with it on EU membership. The decision to start negotiations with Ukraine under these circumstances is completely meaningless, irrational, and wrong. So they will do it. Hungary does not want, I'm quoting again, Hungary does not want to participate in this very bad decision, the Hungarian Prime Minister added, so he abstained during the vote. And the last article that we have comes from this guy here, from Sputnik. Hungary not involved in decision on starting EU accession talks with Ukraine, Orban. So here he is. So the same thing, what happened, the same thing is not going to change the position, despite the fact that 26 countries insisted on making this decision. Hungary decided that if 26 countries decide so, let them go their own way. Hungary does not want to share this bad decision, so today it walked away from this decision, Orban said. Now, it says here, Viktor Orban did not use the veto. This is an important point. We thought that would be a long discussion. Okay, well, it's like you are allowed, even though you don't deserve, to get to Harvard, let's say. Even though I used Harvard, even though I have no positive views on their abilities. Why? For the reasons that I have at least 3 people that I know graduating from that, and one is George W. Bush. That's bad enough. Second, Obama, and if I remember correctly, it was also Michelle. If it's not Michelle, I know another case. And I know 2 or 3 more, but doesn't really matter. I think I made my point with George W. Bush, who attended Yale and Harvard. So anyway, someone was just pushed into Harvard, like right now, Ukraine, but he doesn't even graduate high school. That means he's gonna he's gonna just fall flat on his face in the first year. Why? The process is gonna require this, unless these guys are just going to close their eyes and just gonna grab Ukraine in without deserving it. But hey, that's not my problem. That's your problem over there in Europe, my friends. Now, Orban got $10 billion to be released. He got spoke to by Olaf Scholz during that summit meeting, by French President Macron. Michel came to Budapest, if you remember. So he was promised, I think, a lot of things, and we'll see what else Hungary will get. And remember, Orban said he's going to veto and said, you know what, how about I get my perks? I let them start the negotiations, and then when it's going to be somewhere down the line, or down the road, the vote for Ukraine's really, becoming a European member state, then they could probably say no. By that time, probably Orban will be gone. Who knows? I don't think Ukraine can fulfill these things. I don't think Ukraine will be a country independent and sovereign in the next, let's say, 2 years, I would say, would be under Russian control, and there's not going to be any possibility that it's going to join European Union. That's my vision on that one. All right. So here it is. Zelensky disinvited. He doesn't care. He got what he wanted. Orban. Now, I don't know if Orban was, tied and thrown into a dark room until they voted and say, hey, he just left the room and he never came back. I wonder why. But hey, Orban posted that on Facebook. So Orban got his billions. Ukraine got to Harvard, but is not going to graduate. All right. And that's how I foresee. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.